Hey everybody, welcome back to the basement. Welcome back to the layout. Today we're checking out this. This is Lionel ET44 in Norfolk Southern paint, and we're gonna dive in, get a closer look at this brand new model here on Chris's Trains and Things. Let's go. So back in April of 2024, Lionel surprised everybody by releasing a mid-year catalog that was kind of between their first volume 1 and their volume 2 of 2024. That was before they started taking on more of the MTH Atlas model of some more regular, smaller catalogs that they're doing now. But in that catalog was one model, and it was this. It was a newly tooled diesel engine. This is the ET44. So the ET44 is new, which is why it's a newly tooled model. This is a locomotive that is more fuel efficient. It's got better safety features than its predecessor, the ES44. And this model is really fantastic. It did require totally new tooling. There's some differences between this and the ES44, just even on the shell and things like that, let alone the engine inside. This thing's got some killer sounds to it also, which are really neat. And so we're gonna go ahead and dive in and check this thing out, talk about some of the features and qualities, and then we're gonna run it around the layout. So this is the ET44AC, and this is the part of the Evolution series from General Electric's Electromotive division. This is a Tier 4 4,400 horsepower diesel electric locomotive. So it's got AC power, AC electric traction motors on the trucks to help power this thing down the railway. Now when these things were originally built, the locomotives were ordered by every U.S. and Canadian Class 1 railroad. So that's going to include, your BNSF, your Canadian National, CPKC, CSX, Union Pacific, and Norfolk Southern. BNSF also ordered similar ET44C4 locomotives, which have dynamic weight management system instead of the traction motor on the middle axle of each truck. Now, this model is obviously from Norfolk Southern, and when Lionel cataloged this back in April of 2024, they did catalog all of those Class 1 railways. So you do have a few different options, including a super base. You had 2 powered units for each railroad that they cataloged, so BNSF, CN, CSX. They just had a Kansas City version, Norfolk Southern, and Union Pacific. And then you had 2 powered units, and then you had a super base option as well. Now, these things were steeper in price, MSRP, when they were cataloged at $799.99. The super base units were $699.99. So I did not order one just because of the price, although these things are really fantastic. And they do have some extra features. Now, these do come with the 4-digit addressing, and they've got all sorts of different lighting that we haven't seen on any other diesel electric locomotives before, because they didn't have them. So these do have LED ground lights as appropriate per railroad. They've got walkway lights. They've got an LED control stand inside as well. And then as appropriate, DPU, LSL, and ditch lights. And so, that's going to also mean that there's those road-specific detailing. So there's a light in the very front center of the nose behind the ditch lights. You've got a light on the side here as well. And then on the other side of the locomotive, there is a light also, which is pretty cool. And then this has front and rear ditch lights, which is really neat to see when this thing's moving forward or backward. Now, to see some of the differences of these locomotives compared to the ES44, so if we swing this camera around a little bit here so you can see, this is the standard old ES44. This is my old interstate unit from the original run of Heritage units. And so some slight differences are the flare out in the back is much larger on the ET44. You're going to have different setups for the exhaust. The exhaust is kind of offset on the ET44, and then the nose is slightly different also. So just quick glancing looks of what's different. Obviously, the PTC antennas are much different on this newer model than this older interstate unit as well. Looking here at the older ES44, the MU hosing was always really pretty much the same. It molded, it was the same shape on these older models. On the newer one, if we come over here, you'll see it's a little bit more, I think, realistic looking. It's not perfectly, bent and things like that. So I think these look better. One of the things I do not like about these is just how far out that coupler, that giant lobster claw coupler, sticks out of the front and the rear of these things. I think Atlas and MTH do a nice job of trying to keep these things more set in and underneath the pilot. These do have the kinematic pilots. So, this doesn't necessarily move when it goes around curves, but it's still, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the kinematic pilots. Obviously, a fixed pilot would be really great, but not realistic in the three-rail market because then it can't navigate tighter curves. But, you know, I tend to have a lot of issues with the kinematic pilots, unfortunately. So, I don't know. I'm still not sold on those. But again, this sticks out way too far. And I think they do that so, again, it can navigate some tighter curves. But that is just, it's a little ridiculous. Now, as I mentioned, these originally MSRP'd for $799.99, which was a lot at the time. And then because everything is more expensive in 2025, the MSRP now for $919.99 because of tariffs that are being imposed as these things are imported. So unfortunately, these things are really, really expensive, which is a bummer. Now you can get them for a cheaper price than that from a Lionel dealer. So for instance, Train World has these listed for about $827. So significantly less than that MSRP price, but still very expensive. But these are really fantastic models. These things do come in at just under 20 inches in length, about 19 3/4 inches, and they do require ET44 curves, so they're going to have the same radius limitations as the ES44s. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Let's go ahead and send this around the layout. So I need to thank my friend Mike and Jen. Now, I'm just going to thank Mike. Thanks, Mike, for loaning me this engine. Mike is one of my fellow members at the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Railroad Club, and he had this thing dropped off so we could check it out here on the channel. So thanks, Mike, for doing that. We're going to get this thing back to you here at York. And so everybody, thank you so much for watching this. Let me know what your thoughts are. They have released new road names more recently for the ET44. Pretty cool that this thing's finally here and on the layout. So thanks again, Mike, for loaning it out.
Tower to engine. Please start up and stand by. Over.
All right, she's hot and ready to eat. Let's get to work. Out.
Roger, your track is clear. Dispatcher out.